Okay, gorgeous. Right, same drill as last time, girl. 3, 2, fun! Clap back. What an awful song.
It's alright.
Right, do you want
You alright, Bam?
Hold on. Oh God, it's like Nana's just got a new iPhone. Hello everyone, my name is Daphne.
And I'm Tayris Mongardi.
This is going to be such a work in progress.
Welcome to the gang.
Welcome back to the gang.
Because we ain't got
Well, we don't have a gig.
But at least we got a gang.
We are back once again reviewing RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13. And this time we are on episode 4, which was called...
The Rupaulmark channel, I think. Oh, what was that? Oh, something just fell off the top.
I was not aware of that. Obvious disclaimer. We are currently not together. After, how long was it you were alone for, my baby girl?
Maybe like a month. But, you know, my baby's come back. Jack!
I thought that was a lot longer that you were away for.
You know, just time flies when you're apart. Wait, that's not good, is it? That's a bad thing, it's a bad thing. It's big, like, in my house it's big, do you remember, what's one from Little Britain, like, Margaret, yes, Mr. Man. I'm thinking, you and I, double act, Bubbles and Desiree, fans, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, okay, we're two queens that stands against racism and transphobia, but hey, let's do a Little Britain sketch.
Well, I mean, I'm black. It won't be blackface if I'm Desiree, you know what I mean? Look.
It is very weird not being able to see you, but I did see a little camp glimpse of your outfit today.
Maybe.
And I feel completely outshadowed. Tell me the fucking concept, bitch.
So, you know, is the train still running? Trains across the board. I can't afford a new garment because I'm too poor. But, you know, I was a crafty queen when I started. You know, loved the blue lippy and I loved a bit of cardboard. So here we are, you know, tits hanging out, but doing Southern Rail proud, isn't it? This was what strikes a four.
You know what? It reminds me of that time where you left all of your drag on the bus from when you were going from Leeds down to Brighton each Saturday. And you had to makeshift everything for a hot month. It gives me a lot of that, because that was during your blue lip phase as well.
Yeah, and I was so lucky that it was like the month of October, because I was like, you know, Halloween, I can blag, like, I'm making dresses out of like Sainsbury's meal deals and stuff. People were like, serve, and I was like, I'm so poor, I'm really struggling.
I was going to wear something different today, but I couldn't figure out how I could get it in shot, but I will come and show it to you anyway.
I think this is lovely.
Don't you think I would look a lot better in this?
I mean, I think if you're Troy Bolton, I'm Zach, what's the other one? I'm the black one, his friend.
Chad, yeah. This is currently what I would be wearing for the train's runway. It's another reason of why I'm never going to get on the show, and Tayris most likely will. But instead of that, I thought I would go for a little training for the big sport game. Touchdown and midfield.
Yeah, you volley that
I don't know.
ball.
I don't know if I think anything about sports. I only play bet midfielder.
Whoop, whoop.
Talking of wop wops, today's episode is all about the Rupaulmark channel. Is that the episode title?
I think so. It's a bit naff, but you know, I'm here for it. I love a poor acting challenge.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed myself this episode. A lot more than I have previously, because we have got rid of the whole doom and gloom of like, all of your dreams are now fucking crushed, fuck you. And now it's more just kind of like level playing field. Okay, let's just start the competition as it was meant to have started like 3 weeks ago.
I feel like one of the girls is still feeling the doom and gloom, but we'll get to that, Mardies. So we start off with the winner circle meeting the loser circle. Firstly, can I just say, right, I'm so obsessed with Elliot's nose. Like, I feel like, this sounds like a read, but it doesn't, I love it, because it feels like it's not proportioned right to his face. And don't it remind me of, do you ever watch Ugly Betty? And at the start, I do that thing like do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and of like different body parts. I always feel like Elliot's like eyes and nose match, but it's a different, like, do you know what I mean?
He's like Brandon Urie's character. Is Brandon Urie? Or is that the guy from Fall Out Boy?
Yeah. No, that's Brendan Urie.
That is Brendan Urie.
No, is it Michael Urie?
I don't know. Anyway, he's a white man who's got brown hair. They come into the workroom and then they have this little, Elliot's not here. But as we saw previously, they did a little shh. and got Elliot to go hide behind the lovely little room divider. Very nice. It was a nice little wicker kind of like...
What you just call me?
Something you would see in your nan's house. What you don't typically tend to see in your nan's house, though, is that shot of Elliot just sitting there.
Well, behind
whilst all the girls are just talking absolute smack about her, and she's just big sitting alone in the VIP area energy.
Sitting alone in the DVD. So they're all doing their little meet and greets. Firstly, I did also kind of piss when Denali was like, oh, well, if they're like, if it isn't the B squad, and they're like, if it isn't anywhere to go but down squad, and I was like, Denali, like, foreshadowing, innit, girl?
I honestly thought that the whole, like, Elliot confrontation thing was very anticlimactic. I think he thinks that he can be as, like, cutthroat as these other girls, but every time that I see him in the background, he's always just so, like, happy to be there and just, like, that I don't think he really has it in him to come in and be like, why did you fucking eliminate me and why did you fucking eliminate me? Imagine if that was Candy. Or imagine if that was Tina.
Yeah,
the whole fucking episode would be an entire different narrative. But effectively, Elliot should have been the main character of this episode because it's like a vengeance. First 5 minutes, and then that was kind of that, and then we didn't really see or hear of Elliot much in the episode.
And I also just think it's interesting that Elliot would even come out and be like, oh, if it isn't the B squad, because I'm like, girl, you were the worst of the B squad. I mean, you were the ones that they were shocked. And I was also interested to see that there was no like warmth or anything shown between Tamisha and Lala. So I'm like, are they related or not?
The only thing that they've addressed about Tamisha being her drag mother, Lala being like, I know that bitch from home. Oh wow, so maternal.
It kind of reminds me of when they did the winners thing on season 8, when they all came back for the picture, and you know Dax is Violet's mum, but they don't even bother to show anything.
God, yeah.
Just like...
So we get into the groups. RuPaul comes in, he's like, da-da-da-da-da, here's the deal. What we're gonna be doing this time is a Hallmark. We don't really have Hallmark here. I thought Hallmark was like the card, like that you get, like, but apparently that's like a channel in the US that do kind of like shit things. We don't really have like a specific channel that's just for shit things in the UK. We just genuinely have shit things on TV all the time.
We've got Channel 5. We've got Channel 5.
Actually, it is big Channel 5 energy, to be honest. But they all go off into their little groups and RuPaul comes around, has a little chat with them. The fucking interaction that she had with the group that had Lala, Simone, Rosé, and Utica was just so fucking golden. There was just so many points in that 5 minutes that I was like, oh, how fun. I'm having so much fun. This is such a fun show. No, it just kind of made me forget about how awful RuPaul effectively... Actually...
In some of the later seasons, we've seen like Ru like kind of not really vibing it, you know, and you can tell when Ru's not enjoying himself, but he seems really invested in this season.
Back in like season 10, season 11, I had a straight up conspiracy theory that he was never in the workroom and that they just green screened him in. Because no queen ever actually physically interacts with him, and he's just so...
Yeah, you do. No, he gives Plastique a hug.
They can do loads of stuff with technology nowadays. It's mad.
Just like, I also thought it was interesting, but like in a good way, that Ru paired the groups up, because I guess they would all be inclined to go into their own groups. I was glad that they got to pick their own characters. So I was like, if Ru's like, this is the part you're playing, I was like, oh girl, you're literally forcing these storylines. Like, oh, I want you to go home, so I'm giving you the part I know you're gonna flop at. Yeah. But now I like it when they get to make their own mistakes.
Highlight for me this episode was RuPaul asking Lala about her nails, and then he asked Simone, what are you doing with your nails? And she's like, they're acrylic, and he's like, oh, why is that? For the look of the feel of a woman.
A woman. All of Ru's interactions make me pissed, especially the one with Tamisha. I was like, okay, name 5 Cher songs that aren't Believe. And she's like, Gypsy's like, you're not a fan, you're not a fan.
And she was holding so much face. She was like, yes, I am. I am a Cher fan. I'm definitely a Cher fan. 100% a Cher fan. She was still like holding on to it. And then obviously
just laying in bed like, I am a Cher fan.
I am a Cher fan. Do you think she still like messages RuPaul from time to time? Like, gypsies, tramps and thieves. Also, when RuPaul lost his mind for probably about a week and a half asking Utica whether or not she's ever smoked weed before.
I craze.
I remember my roommate was playing the clip before I watched the episode, and I legit thought he was watching like a Lee Dawson recap. I was like, this laugh is going on so long. I was like, there's no way that this happened, and this is in the show. And then obviously seeing Utica, she is fucking genius. Utica has fully sold me over with her personality now. Like, episode 1, I was here for her looks. Episode, whatever the one she was just on, 3, you heard my opinions. But episode 4, I am probably behind Utica the most now, next to Simone.
Do you know what? I feel like we're really getting to understand who she is. Like, I think from her Meet the Queens and stuff, it was very heavy-handed, like, I'm Cookie. I'm like, yeah. And everyone was like, if you have to say you're Cookie, you're not Cookie. I'm like, she's just jokes. And I think I really loved a lot of these little workroom interactions. And especially, you know what, Candy Muse being like, this is the part I'm having, I'm highlighting all my bits, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you better work. Because I know, we've discussed before, I'm a tank tumor. Like, if I were like, oh, Tayris, you're playing, because you think of some of the wank parts you get in these challenges. Like, remember in season 11 with Kahana as the maid, like, even though we keep ripping on her, and it goes, touch this skin, brother. I was like, oh. And I was like, I know, I'm like, this is the part I want loved, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna cry, so
See, I'm very much like Miss America, like, I believe any part is a good part, you just have to sell it.
There are no small parts, only
true.
small actresses, like... oh yeah, but I mean...
That's tea! That is tea!
But you know what, I was also confused, when they got the scripts, I was like, do they not, like, read through it first? Because in Denali, it was like, I want this part, and the same with Candy, and then they went through and started highlighting all their stuff, and I was like, go, I'm like, I want to see the lines before I'm having this part.
100%. Do a read through, yeah. I think when you were talking about Candy's kind of attitude towards that and being like, I'm just going to go with this part is exactly what I'm made for, I'm going to do it. I think she was very lucky that she was with 2 girls that she is Kiki sisters with. Yeah. By the way, Tina Burner, I'm now Kiki sisters, really put me in the weird mood. I was like,
wait, are we not Kiki sisters?
I can just imagine them like going around New York City at night, like what do they do next?
It's one of those things, like, I feel it's one of those things you say in drag, but like you don't, you say in your mind, but never say it out loud. It's like when Lemon in the Drag Race Canada was like, our team's the Dwalls. I was like, oh come on girl, nobody actually says you say in your mind, like, come and read and Dwalls, but like we're not really the Dwalls. I mean, what were we just talking about? Something about climate change or
Oh, I don't think any of us spoke about climate change. No. Not enough, at least.
Is it just me? I feel like I don't understand who Rosé is as a person yet at all. I feel like every confession we've had, it's been about her being like, I've got to make sure I beat this person and stand out. And I'm like, yeah, but aside from you being like, I want to do well, like, I feel like we have no inkling of what Rosé is doing.
I'm sure she's a lovely, lovely gal, but I've yet to see any kind of charisma. No. I can't even see you pulling a face, but I can hear you going, oh, here she goes again, the fucking haggard bitch.
You know I'm mathematic, leave it at her. Is anyone else short of breath? No.
I'm not saying she's not charismatic. I'm yet to see her show the charisma. And it might be completely down to the editors being like, we want her to come across a certain way. We want her to come across as very driven and knows where she's at in her art. But she might have just been that out of just nerves anyway at the beginning of the competition.
Yeah,
you know, whether or not she makes it further on down the line, I'm sure that's going to be a storyline that the producers are probably going to want to rinse, you know, the evolution of Rosé and her personality and the blooming of Rose. Eh?
Oh, fuck. Oh. So I just want to pop off about some of this filming because I don't understand how, like, I'm not pretending I'm not a gifted actor. I didn't get into drama schools when I applied, you know, when I was like 18. But
you were in a gift gaff advert.
Yeah, I know. We'll link it in the end, you know. But some of these people, I'm like, how can you not act like at all? Like, somebody I thought would be sick at the acting and just was not. Like, Lala Ree's lines were flat.
Oh, she has so much personality in her confessionals. As soon as the camera's on her, Lala Ree just forgets how to not even just be funny, just to be like aware and active. She just was so like not dead behind the eyes, but low-key dead behind the eyes.
No, honestly,
dead behind that wig line.
Stop. Like, they read Kamura over and over about this line, like, I was rooting for us. Do you know what line I think was worse? When she was like, why did you leave me all those years? I was like, I was like, come on, girl. Like,
it was like Lawrence Chaney coming into the workroom. It was like, I am like the look.
Oh,
this. monster. It was like, why did you leave me all those years ago?
Oh, no.
She's not the quickest speaker. We heard that in her rap where she literally went, I'm the
You make her sound like she's the Count from Sesame, like from
the house of That was incredibly frustrating. I don't understand. As an avid fan of America's Next Top Model, I don't know how anyone couldn't. Like, even when Ross was like, how would Tyra say it? And she said it, and she didn't really say it how Tyra said it. And he was like, okay, at least we're going to work with that. Even after doing that, it's like she couldn't even hear the difference of like, and this all could be down to editing again. She could have, maybe did a little bit better and they just showed all the bad cuts. But I was just like, how can someone not physically hear that?
I don't understand how you can't hear it in your head. Like, versus somebody like Tamisha, who like didn't hear it immediately. And Ross like, do it like this. Like, It's like, okay, like this. And like, I guess that taking direction is a skill in itself. But I just think, how can you not hear, like, acting is just, I know like you're overacting on RuPaul's Drag Race, but half the time acting is just saying real things you'd say in real life and make it convincing. Like, you would not say, I was rooting for us. Like, why would you talk like that?
And like, I feel like if you're on a reality TV show, you're constantly being told to say things by producers. So if you have the skill of being able to bring up those conversations so organically, as Kamura does, like so beautifully in the on the sad mirror bit, to not be able to, I don't know, it just confuses me. And maybe we're just two like bratty drama kids that are being like, we've been doing this for years. But like, I can't understand how someone could lack and actually get worse in her lines. So we get back into the workroom and the girls are filled in on the life, times and trails of Tamisha motherfucking Aman. And we hear a little bit more about her story, because when she said last time, like, I've got biological kids, and then just kind of rushed past it, I was like in my head trying to figure out the timeline. I was like, doing drag 30 years, had 3 kids though. When did she start like making babies? Then we learned that she has twins and like blah blah blah. And the gag of she's called Tamisha after her motherfucking birth daughter.
That's
Tamisha.
So sweet. Also, you're not making it very clear. This is my favourite child. I'm building my entire life on this one.
That's true.
But no, I thought it was so sweet. All these workroom chats, actually, even Simone's about the prom, because I don't know about you, but I feel like for a lot of queer teens like myself, prom is like a really like jolting experience. I know for me, this is play the sad RuPaul music, because this is my storyline. I remember when I was around prom time, I remember that's when like really kicked off my body like dysmorphia issues when I first was growing up, because even now getting dressed in a suit sends me. So like, I wish I had the bollock back then to like, you know what, I'm going to prom in a dress and the kids are gonna love it. Like, I was like, you better work, Simone, you better work. I think this is a winner's edit. We keep saying it, but it's because I'm seeing it.
I didn't go to prom because I dropped out of school when I was 14, but I don't think I would have wanted to go, really.
Not with that attitude, no.
I do love the idea, though, of going back to my old high school reunion in 10 years' time as a ghost, because there was like a low-key rumour that I died. I like the idea of just coming with a little sheet and then boo! That'd be fun. That'd be about a laughs. Yeah.
I'm trans. And they're like, no, stop it. Please.
Jesus.
So moving on to the runway. Firstly, Ru looks sick. Like, I feel like she's known for being this like blonde glamours on. I prefer Ru in a ginger wig. Maybe featuring that a little bit myself today. But I just feel like Ru in ginger looks so exquisite.
Yeah, she looked alright. Nothing to write home about. I think, like, last week I'll give her props. Love that orange dress. But, like, this week she looks like RuPaul.
I should be so lucky. Cast me next season. So the category is Trains for Days. First up is Denali. And you know what? I don't think there's anything I'd change about this. I thought it was so sick. I
was half and half. And I don't know if it's because I've watched the lip sync so many fucking times at this point that I've kind of learnt to kind of enjoy this outfit. Okay. At first I was like, I'm just never into rainbow. I think if you're pairing colours, that should mean something, and you shouldn't just kind of throw on all of the colours all together and just be like, whoa. I did really enjoy the blue and the green ostrich feather train of it. Like, I thought those colours went really nicely. I think I could have just done without the red, maybe. But the hair was camp, like the makeup was pretty camp. I think the eyes were a bit muted. I would have worn like maybe a bigger lash. But
Fairs.
Yeah, it was fine.
This confirmed my suspicions about her Mexican heritage. That I keep thinking about.
My suspicions.
You're
not from round here. A lot of people really thought out of the box. A lot of people didn't. But a lot of people really thought out of the box for this one. And I think it really separated the real contenders.
Next up is Olivia Lux in her little Beethoven look. I thought this was very glamour.
I love this.
Do you know what? So I thought it was really nice. I wasn't keen on like the gold eye appliques, but I thought it was really, really lovely. My only sad point about it is Blair St. Clair did a really similar look for All Stars 5. They did a bow runway. They didn't end up using what Shay's big pink dress from the finale is from. And hers was like essentially the same thing, but I preferred it a lot more. And she like posted it on Instagram. So having seen that, it did feel like a little bit of like a less expensive version. But do you know what? One's an all-star, one isn't. So it probably was a less expensive version. But I thought as a whole was a really I'm doing a Kamura Hall. I can't remember my line. It was a really lit look. And I would not think of this direction again, so work, Mama, you better work.
Yeah. If this is where her mind goes for trains, I'm really excited about what kind of like cultural moment she's going to be picking up. I'm already excited for her references. She's a very wholesome queen, isn't she?
Yeah, and I guess,
the entire time I was watching it, I was like, oh, my mum's gonna love Olivia.
And I guess obviously it speaks to her because we've learned that she's a musician, she plays piano in her shows, So I guess once you know that about Olivia, this look makes complete sense, like where she's coming from.
Yeah.
Because on a rack, you wouldn't look at that and be like, oh, that's Olivia's outfit, you know. So I was like, you better work, bitch.
I did absolutely love her little tiny harp. Where does she get these little tiny props from? She's got a deal. She's got a man. She's seen a man about a few dogs.
Yeah, she was a lucky girl. Next up is Elia, and I think this is the prettiest Elia has ever looked to me. I think, you know what, it was a really simple outfit, just like, a white bodysuit with this big white ruffle chain. And initially, it did grow on me, because I was like, oh, it's a bit basic. But I was like, do you know what? If we learned anything from the Kate's one last year, is that, like, the train needs to be the focal point. Like, you're gonna get red if that's not what it is. And also, I could tell this was detachable, not in a bad way, but I was like, you also have to, as we see later on, like, you also kind of have to think, if I end up lip syncing this garment, is this gonna fuck me over? But I thought the neck up was so pretty, very glamour, and I think I'm actually kind of starting to quite like Elliot's style, which I never would have guessed from my ancient slow.
This is the nicest hair I've seen her in, and it was a very nice makeup. It was a bodysuit that she had for something else, belt, train. Sometimes you have weaker runways, sometimes you have stronger runways. I'm excited to see if Elliot has any stronger runways. We're yet to see. But I think that he's gonna get by. Like, after watching this episode, I'm like, I think he's gonna be floating around in the middle for a little while now. So the mediocrity of Elliot is something that I'm gonna... Okay, no, I'll cut all that. It was fine. It was nice. Loved it. Who's next?
Right. Next up, bless her heart, looking so exquisite, is Kamura Hall. Like, Jesus, so incredible. I was like, again, we've established I can't afford pearls, but I touched them. I felt for them. Ghost pearls. She just looks so incredible. And again, such a lovely cultural reference, the detail work, and I think everything else we've seen of hers before, like I said, it's either been like a slight fit issue, or just like this is a really lovely garment, but not like wowzers, but this was a wowzer.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about when I'm like, it's all well and good coming out in these gaggy Bob Mackies that you have found over the years, and it's like, it's amazing to see, you know, old historic art coming out on the runway. That's a gag within itself. But when she has this and it fits so right, this is the best she's looked. For me, this is like, I gasped.
Also looking fucking exquisite, Simone. Like a bitch. Like
I don't know what the producers were thinking, giving us back-to-back Kamura and Simone, the two highlights looks of this season so far for me. So
honestly,
good,
so incredible. Like, and again, like, you know, if you didn't see, spoiler alert, I'm black. But I just think, like, I love her cultural reference points. I love like how unashamedly black she is. I just thought like, oh, so incredible. I don't think, but not only have you never seen a do-rag on the show at all, I don't think. But like done in that way, I was like, this is lit.
I know. I want to be smoking the blood that she was smoking when she came up with this idea. It's so fucking good. And like, I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Ross Matthews. So it's the first time for quoting everyone. But I completely agreed with him when he said about, don't be surprised if you see Rihanna rocking this now.
Yeah,
oh no,
honestly,
it was Lonely Love. It was Lonely Love, this new fabulous guest that we have not spoken about yet. Lonely Love said this, and side note, so here for her and Nicole Byer just to be replacements for Carson and Ross. Absolutely.
No, honestly, I'm so glad they're popping up all season. And apparently T.S. Madison appears a few times as well.
Yes,
I saw. I'm excited to see when she appears. So we're going back to Nicole next week, which I'm here for. But yeah, I love adding a little bit of chocolate to this, as if Rue's not chocolate. But Rue's milk chocolate. I want some rich dark chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, I also saw that Tamisha Rahman and T.S. Madison are friends, so I'm excited to see that reaction and that kind of interaction. I hope they're going to be on episodes together. Well, I'm hoping that Tamisha's winning, so. But yeah, Simone, the colour palette, so right, the silhouette, her attitude, she's getting better and better with this walk. Like, she is introducing so many new Simone moves. Every fucking time she does the... Anytime she's going, it's like a slinky's going down the stairs. Every single moment is like a tick, 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 boom. Like for a photograph, every single fucking angle is I'm so obsessed with Simone.
Next up is Lalaurie. Okay, I didn't mind this. Partly I didn't think it's because it came directly after Simone. So like, alright. I think also I am just getting a little bit bored with this like blazer with something underneath silhouette from her. Like we saw that in her entrance look and last week's Runway with the LeMay. I just think that like I am starting to find her a little bit like samey on the runway. And I guess you've got to make things at work. And again, she bought something that clearly was detachable, like you could take off the jacket in case you had to lip sync. But no, I thought it was like a nice print, a gaggy kind of silhouette. I also appreciated just that she did her lippy on, because we saw what happened to Valentina. So, so she was ready to go if she had to.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I think I would have preferred it if it was another snake print, still in like the same kind of colour, but just like slightly contrasting, because it was all a bit like I can't figure out where the coat's
the
going.
detail work,
where...
Yeah,
I think it would be kind of cooler if maybe it was just like a slightly different contrasting. She loves a mask. Fucking socially conscious queen. How many mask looks does she have? But yeah, I think this was overwhelmingly fine.
Next up is Utica. I just didn't mind it. I think I googled the reference after, and I guess when you know the reference, and I guess Carol Burnett, I don't think is really such a thing here. Like over there, like they all seem to really eat it up. And when you look at the reference, I'm like, oh okay, I guess it is like a really interesting take on that reference. But I just, without knowing the reference, to me, I was just kind of like, oh, it's fine. Like, yeah, but I mean, I didn't like it, to be honest.
I mean, I knew the reference. My mum's a big Gone with the Wind fan, and I love Carol Burnett. I knew that this would be the case. Either you don't like something that Utica does, and I'm going to be obsessed with it. I think Simone just about had the best look, but Utica, real close for me. I was obsessed with this. I shrieked as soon as she came out. I fucking adore this, and I thought the detail was fabulous. It was so gorgeous. I was just so stunning, and she's just so fun to watch. I'm so here for Utica.
I mean, I guess it's not a bad garment at all. And I think, like you said, Gone with the Wind, and Carol Burnett and all these things. So if it's been like, oh wow, wowzers. I'm sure if somebody came out in like an obscure Pokemon look, I'd be like, what, mama? And you'd be like, ah.
I loved it.
To quote Daphne, it's very design challenge.
It's very design challenge. She would win that design challenge through and through.
I don't know. I
could see right through her.
You can't just wear.
Doctor, I feel like a pair of curtains. Pull yourself together then. Who's next, Tayris?
Next up is Rosé. I mean, I like Tool. You saw last week a lovely borrowed coat from Dick Day. Shout out to you again. I think that it's just a little bit of the styling was maybe off for me. Like, I think I did quite like the hair. I did quite like the like actual suit garment thing. It's maybe not together. I thought it was just kind of fine. Like, maybe if the hair was like a bold colour or something, but the white, I was just kind of like, I don't really. Again, we said this before about Rosé. I don't fully understand her style yet, but I think she clearly bought a load of pieces that are super versatile. Like, I'm a really versatile drag queen, but when I think of signature Rosé, I don't think of anything right now. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, 100%. I I liked the silhouette of this. What I would have done is done a block color. So I like that I would have kept the suit blue, and I like the little white lapel here. I would have made the tour a different color. It's such a whimsical silhouette. You can kind of get away with those kind of garish colors, but with like something like Denali, it's so intricate and like ostrich feather. That's when I'm a bit like, oh, so many different colors. You're making something into a cartoon when it doesn't need to be, because it's quite beautiful in real life. Whereas what she was wearing effectively was quite a cartoony outfit.
Yeah, like even if maybe instead of trying to tie the hair to the lapel and the button detail, it's just kept here white pump, white button detail, and then a bunch of white tulle off of the jacket. I would have been like, oh, work.
Yeah.
And then with the hair, if it's 80s, like you could have gone away with fucking anything. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
even if it was like stark yellow to like be hideously like against. I mean, you know, that's Denali's outfit from last week, but you know. Oh, they're there and we're here, so who cares? Right, next up is Gottmik. Well, I guess I really like what it meant. I really like what it represented. I saw online that this was her sheer runway.
Yeah.
That she was like, I really want to wear it. And then, did you see what her train runway actually was?
I'm glad she wore this.
You know, you don't know how many episodes you get when you're on this show. Like, so I think that's clearly an outfit, her sheer look, that like had a really powerful statement that she probably wanted to they probably wanted to show. So they were probably just like, you know what, this counts, I'm gonna fucking wear it.
When I saw it, I was like, oh, wish there was a bit more train, but then I saw the reason why she wore it, and it makes sense. Yeah, it was... like, obviously, I don't know, I feel like pressure as like a trans person to be like, oh my god, I feel so seen. Yeah. It was fine. I've seen, within this week on Drag Race, we've seen 3... No, actually, we didn't see the Joe Black look, but we know of 3 trans looks within the last week. So I don't know, I'm just kind of a bit like, the representation is it's just too much. I feel so lucky.
Next up is Tina. From the neck up is rough. Like, sorry, I thought it was so ugly. The wig, like the mishmash munch wig, like I was not here for it. I kind of did like the train conductor concept, but I even just felt like the actual train being like a track could have been better integrated, because you just look like, oh, turn around, it's a track, yuckers. I just thought it was really ugly.
The one thing I liked about this was the fact that it was the train track as the train, but what I think she should have done is, because the train track was black, because obviously whenever you ever seen a blue train track, it didn't match her dress, of course. So what she should have done, which I thought was a no-brainer, wear a black dress and then have it kind of like coal all around you, coughing up like, oh, and you're the train track. Because then that would blend into the black dress and the black train. I think that would be camp.
The next up is probably my least favourite of the week. It's Joey J. It kind of reminded me of, do you remember when B Colour did that like big mouth and eye collection for Miley at the VMAs, and she had all the drag queens on? I think it was like 2016. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, basically B Colour did like, they had loads of Ru girls, and Miley was at the VMAs when she was in her like tongue out phase.
Oh yeah.
And because me doing that, but
I can't see you.
Even like the wig, the weird like tube with a braid coming out, I was like, Mama, that's garbage. Like, it was not for me.
If this is her way of being initiative, like showing initiative by not wearing wigs, then I'm not looking forward to seeing the rest of what she's got to show. Honestly, like, I will say, I preferred it to Elliot's. At least there was something. There was something going on.
But I mean, the summon wasn't nice. I mean, I'd rather be like, this is kind of boring but very pretty, than like, this is garish and ugly. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
I don't think you could call Elliot's white bodysuit very pretty. But anyway, we're not comparing those two. I don't think it was the worst look on the runway for me. I think Elliot takes that. But this, you got to give me something to work with here, Joey. Words are starting to fail at this point.
I have a question. So you just said Elliot's is the worst. Would you rather be seen out and about in Elliot's look or Joey's look?
Joey's look. I don't mind the coat. I think the coat is a cool concept.
No. I think you need a COVID test because you've lost your taste. That's what I'm thinking. The next one is Candy. I didn't really like it. I liked it from the neck down, Like, I think it was fine. They were like, oh, we can see your undergarments a little bit. I was like, yeah, I'm not mad about it. When I saw the Mugler reference that she posted, I was like, oh, I guess it's kind of the same dress. But the neck up, mama. It's a no from me.
Obviously, I get that she's a very successful queen out of the show. If you get rid of all of that, you don't know her at all, and you're just watching it straight up, you've never seen any of these queens before, why is she getting these passes? She played herself in the, we'll get to the acting challenge, but spoiler alert, she played herself. She wore this, also on Twitter, she said this was meant to be her finale gown. But she's had to change it last minute because her train it was too long for the runway, apparently. So producers told her she couldn't do it. So she then hot glued got the dolls to sell this train on the back.
Kiki sisters.
The Kiki sisters. But I don't understand, without the train, what is the dress? What was she going to wear to the finale? Just the red corset? I'm so confused.
I think the styling would have been different. Like, she'd had like a nice updo and like some like just simple jewelry.
She would have spent more than 15 minutes on her makeup.
That's also probably part of what I think. It was the styling that's the issue, because the dress itself I actually didn't mind. Like, it was fine. Like, I mean, I've seen people wear tackier things and like worse things to their final runway. But because again, like we said, like sometimes you just if you feel like you're gonna go home sooner than that, you just gotta start pulling out the good shit when you think you need it. But to touch on what you just said about her playing herself, I don't necessarily mind that. If you make the dialogue funny, I don't particularly care, because like Ru always makes it very clear, like he is not looking for like scripted lambda rada standard actors. He just wants to laugh.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes like we've seen his opinion flip flop about that. Like, you know, Silky was really praised for like playing the same character, but other people get scrutinised for it. But I just think, if I'm laughing, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
Were you laughing at Candy? Were you genuinely laughing at Candy?
I mean, to be very clear, I think aside from maybe Simone, nobody got a real loud yuck from me in the challenge. Like, oh!
Next down the runway is Miss Tamisha Aman, and she's coming for you. I was underwhelmed.
Yeah, do you know what? I think I could have liked it more if the tulle detail, like the fabric detail, didn't carry around the front. I just, you know, I've been a big Tam fan member here, but now I'm like, do I want to be up for adoption? No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, you know, we can't all be winners. I just think this is a bit wank.
The way she like walked down the runway and she was like, yes, I made this one as well. I was like, oh right, maybe let's turn down on the bragging on this one. It's not exactly your last week's one. Go to a Tamisha Aman show. She's going to be wearing this. You're going to be pleased.
I'm not.
It's just, you know, when you see where a lot of these girls' minds went when it came to this assignment, it just worries me slightly that maybe Tamisha is not going to think so much outside of the box when it comes to these themes.
No, I think it's very classic drag, you know, and I think that can help and hinder you, because sometimes you've seen somebody go like Joey are going so far from the mark that like they're not on the page anymore, you know. Whereas I feel like her, it's always gonna be like, okay, that's right. It's always gonna be a thumb up, but you know, I want the flags to shake. So it's time to watch the Rupaulmark movies. Never asked you what team would you have want to been on?
What, in terms of the story? Because I think all of the plots were awful. Or do you mean the team players?
The team players.
The team players. Definitely not Tina, Candy, fucking Joey J, Mick.
That's interesting you say that. That's the team I would have picked, because I wouldn't know whether or not
that was a dire team.
But I don't think so, because I wouldn't know whether or not we're being judged in teams. And I was like, you know what? Even if I'm struggling this dialogue, which I wouldn't, because I'm gonna kill it. But you know, I feel like Tina's gonna help me carry it. Like, Candy's got a big personality. She just nailed it to the screwing point. She's gonna help me nail it.
They're the two that I think are gonna be the most in it for themselves and not team players.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, if it's a group act, if they were judged as a team, and it's just got to be, you've all just got to be the best, and the weakest scene is in the bottom, I feel like, I don't worry that this is going to be the weakest scene with these people.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll just give a quick disclaimer. My battery keeps on running out on my phone. So we were originally going to go through each performance, but I think we should do a sum up. Who would you put in the top 3 just performance alone, Tayris, and who would you put in the bottom 3 just performance alone?
Wait, so not factoring in Runway?
Not factoring in Runway. If we just were to watch these lovely movies.
My top 3 would be Simone, Candy, and Tamisha.
Candy!
Yeah.
Okay.
I laughed.
Wow, okay. So the only times that I laughed out loud were Tamisha Iman, Simone, and also I thought Rose was pretty funny when she was like, the gnome. That got it. That made me yuck. So controversially, I actually laughed at a line that Elliot did when Olivia was like, I don't know, why are you so stupid? And she's like,
And that was my favourite line, the whole bit. I looked at that in my notes. It was like, how do you even get out of bed? Like,
I was like, that. I think that's the only reason why she wasn't in the bottom 2 was just because of that line. I was like, oh, you're cute. I like this. I like more of this, Elliot. Also, I will say, Olivia, I think, actually carried the entirety of the first group. I agree with this bottom 3. Actually, no, fuck it. No, Joey J. Why was Joey J safe? I don't think he had any highlights more so than Denali, Lala.
You look like you're a good lad.
That was just awful. That was just awful.
Like, I personally actually would have maybe kept Denali safe and put Lala in the bottom.
Really?
Because even though I thought that, Denali's character, I thought that both of their characters were equally kind of weak. I was more into the concept and the construction of Denali's look, and also, do you know what? Denali had loads of lines. Like, Denali was pretty much the entire scene, and then with the others had cameo bits. With Lala had 2 or 3 lines. I can at least forgive Denali for stumbling a bit more. Whereas Lala, I was like, you were well boring, and you had 3 lines to make funny.
Yeah. All right.
And also, I feel like they ripped into Denali for not knowing the references, whereas they ripped into Lala for just being boring, period.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's very rich that RuPaul can rip into someone for not knowing gay culture enough, but in fact himself, he doesn't know trans culture. Never forget, people. Never forget.
Coming on to this lip sync. Firstly, I love when Ru introduces me, a basic girl who only listens to Glee covers, to songs I didn't know. Apparently this is a really big song.
I've been waiting for a Crystal Waters lip sync for the longest time. I thought they would have done She's Homeless before because it's more famous than this song.
Sometimes as a lip syncer, I don't like it when people lip sync exactly to the words, when you're doing the clock when it's time, but there's just something about the way that Denali does it. Not even, aside from all her stunts and her splits, whatever, I think she has such mastery of it. She has the same thing as Simone, where she has a mastery over the music as well as the words, which I just think
100%.
Really well for her.
Do you know what? I enjoyed this lip sync so much, and I don't even think Kamura did terribly. I saw a lot of people comparing this to Trinity Taylor, Charlie Hides, and it was a little bit like that moment in The Simpsons when that boy's like, stop, he's already dead.
He's already dead.
But I think she still gave a relatively good fight. She looked gorgeous. There was no way that she couldn't look gorgeous in that outfit anyway. But yeah, Denali just absolutely fucking murdered her. And it was so fun to watch. It was just such a fun fucking lip sync.
And we all saw, Ru didn't even bother with the ladies I made my decision. She's Denali, that was lit. You
better fucking work, girl. You better fucking work.
Our first eliminated girl of the season is Kamura Hall, who both you and I put in our top 4.
Right, okay, thank God we have not bet any fucking money on this so far.
She had 3 episodes, you've gotten a chance to fall in love with her, and I guess, realistically, aside from Runway, she's one of the people now that I was probably least excited to see their skill set throughout the rest of the show. So as sad as it is a goodbye, I feel like it was the right decision, it was.
Also, I kind of think low-key, she's a little bit oh, thank God I don't have to do these, getting into drag for 20 minutes kind of thing. I think that is not worth it for her. Also, I forgot about this. One of my favourite parts of the whole lip sync was just at the end when Denali knew she fucking killed it and she just swiveled round on her ass and she gets up and you just see Kamura just straight up just applauding her. She's just I'm going home, well done.
With Kamura gone, that is this week's episode done, and another episode of The Gag in the bank.
I can bear this now because I'm not directly next to you.
I'll look across at you. So, thank you for watching, my honeys. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll reply and bully you beneath, but that's hot girl shit. We'll see you next week for another cheeky episode. Bar for me, honey. Shit, my glass empty, but my heart is full.
See you later from the House of Hall.
Oh!
Bye.
Bye.